Hi, everybody. Do you ever find yourself turning and tossing at night, unable to fall asleep? It has happened to me a few times over the summer. I would wake up in the morning, my eyes burning. I would drag myself tired all day, despite of 3 or 4 cups of coffee. I had taken a class some time ago, trying to find some method to relax and find how to go to sleep. But I lost track of it. So I found this book, How to Sleep Well. Halfway through the book, I learned nothing, just a bunch of useless statistics. So the second half was a bit better, and I'll talk to it in a minute. But first, I thought we do a quick quiz. 3 questions, true or false. First, adults should get 7 to 9 hours of sleep to feel great in the morning. True? Well, it's kind of 3 questions. It depends. Some people do fine with 5 or 6 hours. Others need 10. The real answer is it depends on what you need. And that's what I kind of call a useless statistic. True. Caffeine keeps you awake. True. Well, not a trick question. Yes, coffee keeps you awake for 6 to 8 hours. Tea, however, has a lot less caffeine, and it's fine to have a 5 o'clock tea for most people. Of course, coffee doesn't kick in right away, and it's fine to take a nap right after a cup of coffee because it's not going to kick in for 20, 30
Think about the rain yesterday. Wasn't that really good, the rain? I like storms. Really cool.
Yeah, but it's kind of boring, makes the weather really depressing. I don't like it as much.
It can.
No. Oh.
Is there anything you would like to share with us? I know.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was off mute here. I thought I was on mute. I apologize for doing that. I should have been paying attention to you. I'm so sorry, Marie. Go ahead. Sorry. Quit talking to me, man.
Did you raise? That's okay. No problem. Did you raise your hand? Do you have anything to contribute? But do you like coffee?
I love coffee. To be honest with you, probably had too much.
Okay, thank you. Please try to keep your mute button. Third question: alcohol helps you fall asleep. True? Well, it's true that a glass of wine helps people relax and go to sleep in the evening. Of course, you don't want to abuse of it, or it could have adverse effects. All right, I hope you are warmed up. And now let's get into the factors.
On that last point, Marie-Noelle, I think it can help you fall asleep, but I've heard that you don't really have a really good night's sleep if you've had too much to drink. So even though you fall asleep, when you wake up in the morning, you might not feel rested if you've had too much alcohol.
I agree with your point. Thank you, Philip. And I'll get to a little bit more of that in a minute. We're going to talk about some of these factors that help you or not fall asleep. And if you don't mind, as you can see, we're going to have a short discussion at the end. So Please keep your question for the end. Thank you.
Oh, sure, you don't.
So today we're going to talk about the external factors, the internal factors, your state of mind when you go to bed. And hopefully, if there are not too many questions and interruptions, we'll have some time for questions or discussion at the end. External factor, the bedroom or wherever you sleep. Ideally, the room temperature should be 60 to 65 per the experts. That's pretty cold. I mean, it may be the temperature of my room right now, but in the summer, I think 70 to 75 is just fine. But then it depends on what you're wearing. Your clothes, your covers, you don't use the same in summer and winter. Do you know that when you fall asleep, your body generates heat? So you want to be covered with something that lets the heat dissipate. Otherwise, you're going to overheat and wake up. The air should be fresh. If possible, open a window.
Marie-Noelle.
Yeah, Brian?
For me, I always stand in the corner because it's always 90 degrees. It's a little warmer. I'm just surprised you're not addressing it.
Sorry, I didn't catch the whole, you're talking about 90 degrees?
Yeah, in the corner. I was just surprised you didn't capture that on your slides.
Sorry, I'm not too sure what exactly you're talking about, but we can get back to that, as I said, at the end of the meeting, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you. So as I was saying, air freshness, it's best to either open a window or at least a door. Light, it should be really dark in your room. Experts say you may even want to block the light from your clock. What's the point of having a clock if you cannot even look at it? I like to glance at my clock each time I wake up. Hopefully you live in a quiet neighborhood. No traffic noise, no neighbors noise. Some people like to listen to calming music or some calming mantras. Myself, when I was in my 20s, I lived with my sister for a few years, and I would fall asleep listening to her watching TV in the other room. Wall color, it could be bright red if you want. Of course, it doesn't matter once you have turned off the light. But if you try to relax in your room before turning off the light, maybe you want to choose a color that's less aggressive. As for clutter, unless it collects dust or accumulates over the bed, it shouldn't really matter. Look at kids, they fall asleep in any kind of messy room. Doesn't bother them. Of course, bed comfort is of essence. Softness, firmness, it's a matter of taste, or maybe it depends on your body weight or body density. How long should you take to test the bed? 1, 2 minutes? More like 10 or 20. You're going to spend hours on that bed. So overall, I think what affected me the most during the summer was really the room temperature. My room was in upper 70s, not 90. Let's get into the internal factor. That's how your body feels. We've talked already about drinks, caffeine, alcohol. Some people like to have bedtime tea or lukewarm milk with honey. I tried that. It never worked for me. What to eat? Protein, carbs, it doesn't matter as much as how much you eat and when. A heavy meal is going to be on your stomach for hours. Prefer a lighter dinner a few hours before bedtime. Exercise. Yeah, you want to exercise during the day, but don't work out too hard right before bed or your heart is going to be racing. Sometimes I work hard during the day and I'm so exhausted, I cannot sleep after that. State of mind, bedtime routine is not just for kids. Adults too should wind down at least half an hour before bedtime. Turn off your screen, stop working, get in bed and relax. You should leave your worries, your stress, your fears outside of the bedroom. If your alarm system can take care of your fears, worries and stress are harder to forget. What can you do about it? That's where relaxing your mind comes in play. Breathing exercise, meditation. That's the kind of things that I started to learn when I was watching this video that I couldn't keep track of. So I thought, well, maybe you can help me and share some tips or share some resources that you have on how you fall asleep. So Brian, Philip, now is the time to share your thoughts. Anybody wants to say something or has anything to share? Some tips for me.
Well, I think really that I'm sorry that was that Brian who was starting to talk. I'm gonna go ahead and talk over you, Brian, because I know what I'm talking about.
It's me.
I've done sleep studies. I've been professionally evaluated for sleep, and it's all very personal. And I find that really the only way to like properly sleep is just, by habit, right? Whether, the experts say you have to have your room from 60 to 62, but it's, here in California where none of us have heating or air conditioning, it's kind of hard to regulate that temperature. It's just really what you're used to. If you grew up, you know, camping a lot, you're used to sleeping in extreme temperatures. That's what I did. You know, Marie-Noelle actually called out that, you know, if and once your eyes are closed, it doesn't matter what your room looks like. You know, and by far and away, I don't care what anybody has to say about anything, the best method for falling asleep, it's time tested and true for all of history. And that, of course, is counting sheep. And I mean that literally. So that's really the only way that, you know, anybody who has any trouble falling asleep should really try to do. I don't care what anybody else says about that. That's just the way it is.
Well, thank you, Rick, for sharing that. I'll try that for sure.
Well,
I appreciate it.
It's the only way that it works. Like, you know.
I appreciate your feedback. And anybody else has some thoughts about that?
Just to share, I did the sleep studies also, and I was always waking up in the morning with a headache and drinking huge amount of coffee and espresso. And they did with the sleep machine through the night, and I had severe sleep apnea. I was stopping 54 times per hour of breathing more than 30 seconds. So I was suffocating myself, and now I have a machine that I can sleep. And also what it helps throughout the sleep, it's taking melatonin, 10 milligram with slow dissolving effect. And this really helps keep my sleep for 7 hours. And exercise, losing weight or being overweight doesn't help. So, but it's not your case. But
well, thank you, Andre. I appreciate. I actually have a cousin of my husband who also uses such a machine, and I guess that's, you know, some people have that problem of sleep apnea, and that's definitely something to be addressed. But for most people, it's just something that there's something else going on, but there's no real experts about sleep. So that's the problem. There's no people who can really help you with that. And I do take a little bit of melatonin. Maybe I need to look into the dose and slow dissolving, because I just pick whatever on the counter. So I'll be more careful next time I buy some. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? We're gonna start
I've
being
got
a little bit
something to
short.
say.
So,
you know, you gave a lot of interesting information, but you don't get to the root of the problem that I have when trying to fall asleep. And that's the other person on the side that's messing everything up. They're pulling all the blankets, they're changing the heat. What am I supposed to do about this?
well, what you can do is have separate beds. Actually, that's one thing that the book started getting into. Like, why do we think that we have to sleep with our partner? And it used to be like cavemen, you know, they would all cuddle in the same cave. But at some point, it's actually interesting. It's in Europe, they started having these large rooms, and so they could have a large bed, and they would just sleep in the same bed. But that's kind of when people got enough money to kind of have separate rooms for the kids, adults, and so there's like some interesting history around that. But yeah, I'm sorry, Alvin, but you have to work it out.
That's a good solution. I'll look into getting a bed for these cats. Thank you.
Okay, yes.
Well, thank you all for sharing. Very interesting. Maybe I'll follow up with some of you on some of your tips. And well, I hope that you enjoy the topic. I see that it raised some interest in a good number of you. So thank you for listening, and back to you, Ken, I guess.
All right.